Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to see the free living amoeba. Previous lectures you have studied regarding the intestinal amoeba. So today we are going to learn the free living amoeba. Why the free living? Because they are ubiquitous in the soil and the water. So they are free living amoeba. They are the Acanthamoeba, Naegleria fowleri, Balamuthia mandrillaris and Sapnia. They are basically present in the soil and the water and they cause the opportunistic infection in the humans. Naegleria fowleri, basically they causes the primary amoebic meningoencephalitis. Acanthamoeba causes the granulomatous amoebic encephalitis and the amoebic keratitis. Balamuthia mandrillaris causes the granulomatous amoebic encephalitis and Sapnia causes the encephalitis. We will go through one by one. How they are differ from the intestinal amoeba. Now the free living amoeba, they are present in the soil and the water, while the intestinal amoeba, they are basically resides in the large intestine. This free living amoeba, they have the plenty of mitochondria which is absent in case of the intestinal amoeba. Free living amoeba, they have the nuclear membrane distinct and they do not have the peripheral chromatin granules, and the nucleolus is the large and deeply stained, which is not there in case of the intestinal amoeba, and they causes the opportunistic infection mainly affecting the central nervous system. We'll go through the first, that is Naegleria fowleri. They are basically present in the hot fresh water bodies like the ponds, lakes, rivers. They are also found in the soil and near the warm water discharges. They basically exist in the two forms, that is the trophozoite form and the cyst form. Now the trophozoite form are the two forms, that is the amoebic form and the flagellated form and the cyst form. Now this amoebic form is the invasive and the infective form of the Naegleria fowleri. Here you can see they have the pseudopodia and that is the lobular in shape. This is the pseudopodia which is lobular and that is also known as the lobopodia. They have the granular cytoplasm carrying the contractile vacuoles, food vacuoles and the nucleus. Now nucleus do not have the chromatin granules, but they do have the nucleolus and the karyosome which is deeply stained. Now this amoebic form, that is the replicative form, infective form and the invasive form. This can be converted into the flagellated form once they are exposed to the change in the concentration of the ionic solution, like if they placed into the distilled water for the particular period of the time and for the different temperature, they are converted into the flagellated form. So these two forms are the transient form. So the flagellated form will have the two flagella which is present at the broader end, you can see here, and they have the nucleus with the nucleolus and the karyosome. Flagellated form can be converted into the amoebic form once that a particular favorable condition has been not achieved. So they are converted into the amoebic form. So these are the two forms which is present in case of the Naegleria fowleri. And the cyst is having the thick double layered cyst wall and they have the granular cytoplasm with the nucleus carrying the nucleolus and the karyosome. So this is the amoebic form which is the growing and the replicating form. Then flagellated form, transient form, pear-shaped two flagella, and the cyst form with the double cyst wall, dormant form, and they resist the drying and the chlorination. Now the life cycle, mainly the infective form is the amoebic form, and the human infection occurs while the human is diving in the swimming in the water bodies that carries the amoebic forms, and the incubation period is 1 to 7 days. Now these free living amoebic trophozoites which are present into the water bodies, they causes the human infection through the inhalation while swimming or diving, and they penetrate the nasal mucosa. Through the nasal mucosa they enters the olfactory nerve and then they reach the brain and causes the CNS manifestation in the form of primary amoebic meningoencephalitis and causes the death. Now here, once they enters into the nasal mucosa, they enters the olfactory nerve, and here they causes the necrosis and the hemorrhages. Then they enter the brain. Now here in the brain, they basically produces the food cups through which they enters into the brain tissue and causes the digestion of the brain tissue by secretion of the cytopathic enzymes. They also causes the cytolysis of the brain cells by secreting the different enzymes and the toxins like the hemolytic proteins. They also releases the cytolysins, phospholipases. By that they causes the hemorrhages in the brain, and they causes the acute suppurative meningoencephalitis, that is also known as the primary amoebic meningoencephalitis. This manifestation is seen firstly with the changes. The prior symptom will be change in the taste and the smell as the olfactory nerve is firstly involved. Then after, the patient will develop the fever, nausea, headache, vomiting, and they will have the meningeal signs due to the meningeal involvement in the form of the neck stiffness and the positive Kernig sign. In the secondary symptoms, they develop the seizures, altered mental status, hallucination, and coma. The mortality rate is very high, that is 98%. For the diagnosis of the Naegleria fowleri, as it mainly causes the CNS manifestation, so the cerebrospinal fluid is the sample to be employed for the diagnosis, and here refrigeration is not required because the death of the amoebic form may occur. Here we will firstly do the CSF analysis by the microscopy. In the microscopy you will have the plenty of neutrophils because CSF will be the purulent, and here the proteins will be elevated along with the sugar levels. Now for the microscopy of the CSF, we will put the CSF onto the slide, put the cover slip, and we will see for the motile amoebic trophozoite forms of the Naegleria fowleri. Microscopy can be better employed with the phase contrast microscope. You can do the staining with the Giemsa stain also of the CSF. Histopathology of the brain biopsy can be done, and here you can see the trophozoites. For the histopathology, we will use the H stain and the Wright stain we can use. We can do the culture of the Naegleria fowleri of the CSF sample on the non-nutrient agar. Now here it cannot grow independently, so here we do the overlayer of the E. coli bacterial isolate. So you do the lone culture of the CSF along with the E. coli, and the trophozoite form, as it is the amoebid, they have the pseudopodia, so they will crawl on the lone culture and they will produce the trail. So the trail sign will be observed once they are cultivated on the non-nutrient agar. You can do the isoenzyme analysis from the CSF sample. Molecular methods, multiplex PCR. Here you have the multiplex PCR for the detection of the free living amoeba, and the imaging methods, that is CT and MRI, you can use. This is the picture showing here the first picture is the H stain of the CSF sample that is showing the trophozoite form. Here you can see the sky blue or the dark blue colored side, this wall, and here the nucleus is the pink in color, and here this is the cyst form of the Naegleria fowleri. No effective treatment is available for this primary amoebic meningoencephalitis. Amphotericin B has been given to the patients. Other drugs used are the rifampicin, sulfadoxazole, antifungus like miconazole, fluconazole, and miltefosine are found to be effective in case of the Naegleria fowleri. Moving to the acanthamoeba, which is the second most common free-living amoeba, which is ubiquitous and present worldwide, and it is present in the soil, fresh water, and the brackish water. It basically infects the CNS, skin, and the eye, and more than 24 species has been identified. In them, the important one are the Acanthamoeba culbertsoni, Acanthamoeba polyphaga, Acanthamoeba castellani, and Acanthamoeba astromyxis. Now here in the Acanthamoeba culbertsoni that causes the granulomatous amoebic meningoencephalitis in the immunocompromised patient, and Acanthamoeba polyphaga causes the corneal ulcer and keratitis. Now it is distributed worldwide and it is having the two stages, again trophozoite and the cyst form, but no flagellated form as we have seen in case of the Naegleria fowleri. It is not seen in case of the Acanthamoeba. And here the both forms are the infective, trophozoite and cyst both. Now here moving to its structure, the trophozoite form is having the irregular acanthopodia, and their cytoplasm is the granular, carrying the food vacuoles and the contractile vacuole, and the nucleus with the nucleolus and the karyosome. And their cyst is having the double layered cyst wall, and the outer layer is the wrinkled. So this is the form of the Acanthamoeba, having the acanthopodia in the trophozoite and the wrinkled cyst wall in the cyst. Mode of the infection, they enter into the human body through the inhalation or ingestion, or through the traumatized skin, or through the eyes. It causes the infection in the contact lens barrier as well as the non-contact lens barrier also. Now the free-living trophozoite and the cyst are present into the water bodies. Human infection occurs through the inhalation and the broken skin. Then they will disseminate to the CNS and causes the encephalitis. While if they enters through the eye, they will causes the keratitis and the corneal ulcer. Now the amoebic keratitis. Here the Acanthamoeba enter through the cornea, through the trauma. In case of the trauma, if they enters through the trauma, the onset is rapid, and they enters into through the contact lens use, mainly the lens cleaning solution. In that case, you will have the slow onset, and if they enters through the contaminated water, the onset will be slow. Here, Acanthamoeba, they have the mannose binding protein, which adheres to the glycoprotein receptors which is present on the corneal epithelium, and they will causes the abrasion onto the corneal epithelium and causes the ulcer and the keratitis. Various ocular manifestation has been observed in the form of ulceration, iritis, scleritis, hypopune, severe pain, and the loss of vision. In India, basically they are associated with the contact lens use. Recent data shows there is also increased number of the Acanthamoeba seen in case of the non-contact lens barrier also. Second manifestation, that is the granulomatous amoebic encephalitis, that occurs if the Acanthamoeba enters through the inhalation and traumatized skin. They directly enters through, they mainly causes the infection into the CNS in the form of granulomatous amoebic encephalitis, and mainly the immunocompromised patients are mainly involved. They produces the focal granulomatous lesion in the brain. So you see the lymphocytosis in the CSF, and if it is in the HIV patient, then no cells will be seen in the CSF. Symptoms will be as they of the encephalitis, that is the confusion, dizziness, nausea, headache, stiff neck, and the seizure and the hemiplegia has been noted. They are basically found from the Vellore, Chandigarh, Puducherry, Hyderabad, and other places from the India. For the diagnosis of the Acanthamoeba, the sample of the choice is the cerebrospinal fluid, and again here you can do the direct microscopy. So the trophozoite and the cyst, both forms can be seen in the CSF as well as in the corneal scraping. Now for the CSF and the corneal scraping, again you put the sample on the slide, put the cover slip and seal for two forms, trophozoite and the cyst form. You can do the staining with the Giemsa stain, and the histopathological stain you can use, that is the PAS stain, and the HE stain you can do. Chalcophore stain, that is used for the brain tissue. Now here the culture is not effective as that of the Naegleria fowleri. You can do the indirect fluorescent antibody technique, with the specific antisera. So this will help you for the species identification in case of the acanthamoeba. Multiplex PCR for detecting the free-living amoeba. CSF examination will show the lymphocytosis. And here in the CT and MRI, the space-occupying lesion will be seen. So this is the picture of the trophozoite of the acanthamoeba. This is the trophozoite form. This is the cyst form. Here you can see the wrinkled cyst wall. And this is the indirect fluorescent antibody of the acanthamoeba under UV light. Moving to the differentiation between the Naegleria fowleri and the acanthamoeba. Naegleria basically causes the primary amoebic meningoencephalitis, while acanthamoeba causes the granulomatous amoebic encephalitis as well as keratitis and the corneal ulcer and the sinusitis and the cutaneous lesions. Infection can be transmitted through the swimming in the contaminated water, while acanthamoeba infection mainly occurs in the immunodeficient patient. The clinical course will be acute in case of the Naegleria, while it is subacute to chronic in case of the acanthamoeba. Diffuse suppurative changes will be seen in case of the Naegleria, while it is granulomatous inflammation in case of the acanthamoeba. Here in case of the Naegleria fowleri, you will see the trophozoite and the cyst form. And the trophozoite will have the two forms, that is amoebid and the flagellated form. While here in case of the acanthamoeba, you will have the trophozoite and the cyst form, trophozoite with the acanthoporia and the cyst with the wrinkled cell wall. Mainly direct neural spread through the olfactory nerve to the CNS occurs in case of the Naegleria fowleri, while it is hematogenous spread in the acanthamoeba. Here basically the infection of the lung, acanthamoeba is the infection of primary infection site is the lung and the cyanosis. Then after the CNS spread occurs through the hematogenous spread. CSF will show the neutrophilia in case of the Naegleria fowleri, while it shows the lymphocytosis in case of the acanthamoeba. Culture you can do with the non-nutrient agar with the bacterial supplements, while it is difficult in case of the acanthamoeba. And CT scan in case of the Naegleria, you will not have the remarkable features, while it will shows the space-occupying lesion in case of the acanthamoeba. Treatment for the acanthamoeba in case of the granulomatous amoebic encephalitis. Here actually the no therapy is there, but you can use the combination therapy like the pentamidine and azoles, sulfonamides and possibly the flucytosine. In case of the amoebic keratitis, topical antiseptic agents like biguanides and chlorhexidine, that is 0.02% you can use. In early cases, debridement is sufficient, and in severe cases, keratoplasty is required. Third one, most common, that is the Balamutia mandrillaris. Here the name is given Balamutia by the scientist, that is William Balamut, and it has been first identified in the pregnant woman, that is pregnant mandrill, and that's why the name is given, that is Balamutia mandrillaris, and it basically causes the granulomatous amoebic encephalitis. It again has the two forms, that is trophozoite and the cyst form. Here no flagellated form has been seen. The life cycle and the mode of infection is same as of the acanthamoeba through the respiration. So it basically infects through the respiration or through the traumatized skin. Now here two forms are seen, that is the trophozoite and the cyst form. In the trophozoite form, here you can see they have the pseudopodia, which is irregular, and the cyst is the tri-layered cyst wall in the form of wrinkled ectocyst, mesocyst and the endocyst, which is granular. For the Balamutia, that basically cause the granulomatous amoebic encephalitis. Same as of the acanthamoeba, the combination therapy is given like the pentamidine, azithromycin, fluconazole, sulfadiazine, flucytosine, ephotyricin and the miltefosine. Sapenia, two species has been recognized, that is Sapenia diploidea and the Pedata. Now Pedata has been documented, the case of the Pedata has been documented, and they have the two stages, that is the two forms, the trophozoite and the cyst form. and the trophozoite form is characteristic, having the binucleated appearance, and these nuclei are attached together, and they measures the 40 to 70 micron in the size, and the cyst is the same as that of the other free living amoeba, and they are not found in the tissues. They can be cultivated in the non-nutrient agar with the bacterial supplement, and for the diagnosis you will do this. It requires the CSF sample, and you will see the trophozoite form of the Sapenia with the binucleated two nuclei attached together, and you can do the biopsy specimen histopathological staining, and you can see the trophozoite form in that. You can do the multiplex real-time PCR for the diagnosis. Other free-living amoebic forms are the Velkamphia species, Hartmanella species, and Para-Velkamphia species have been reported to cause the keratitis in the patient with the contact lens barrier, and they causes the infection also by the corneal trauma. And this Para-Velkamphia species has been associated with the primary amoebic meningoencephalitis. Thank you.